Hey y'all! And welcome to the Sorry Not Sorry Generation podcast, where we bring you a not-so-healthy dose of humor and reality as we get our hands dirty with some serious nostalgia and question everything.
Let's dive in.
Hey
y'all!
Hey y'all!
It's Misty.
It's Ani.
And Aaron.
And we, kind of back, because this is our second D&D kind of tea time episode. So today we are going to kind of do a talking episode about our D&D campaign thus far in celebration for the second anniversary for the campaign.
Can't believe it's already been 2 years of us playing.
I know. Who thought we'd make it?
Just
us or the characters?
Yeah. So, not for a little bit of lack of trying. And to be fair, one of you didn't make it the whole way. So
one of us did die.
Yeah.
That was kind of a pause as opposed to a period.
That's true. There were no new characters were made. You guys were successfully able to resurrect Valkyria. And on that note, yes, to anybody who's listening to this is going to be full of spoilers from the last year of the campaign. So
if you haven't been listening,
now is the time to go back and listen to the campaign. So, but yeah, we are going to do some talking about the campaign thus far. I'll be answering any questions my wonderful and lovely players have, to an extent. I won't spoil anything for them, but yeah, I see that.
Will we survive another year?
We don't know.
You don't. Well, I can say you are well over the halfway mark, so that's good.
I am waiting for Asha's man to appear all of a sudden.
It's true. That is true. Somewhere in the future to be fair, it's Asha's potential man. She might decide she hates him, so you never know. But it just depends on how that goes. You guys have gone through quite a few arcs thus far. You've officially made it to level 10. There's 3.5 arcs left. So, and it's going to get a lot more dangerous from here on out. So, the warm-up period is over. So,
well, it took us 2 years, but hey, now Val isn't as squishy.
But also, that was the warm-up period.
Well, year one was really just kind of practice and getting used to it. And then this year was all about really kind of starting to ramp it up and just kind of showing that there are consequences for actions and how serious everything is going to start becoming. And then the next few arcs will be a little more dangerous and active. So, yeah. You guys are going to have some interesting things come your way.
Now, I don't know when we're actually going to head back to the Nameless City. So I'm going to start off this tea time with one question.
Okay.
That I forgot to ask last time.
Uh-huh.
Tell me everything about Aunt Jucinda.
I can tell you some things about Aunt Jucinda. So she is a druid.
She can tell you some things.
Jucinda is a Circle of the Spores druid, which means she's a mushroom druid. So, which explains a lot, to be honest with you. She is an archdruid. So she is, on top of being a vampire, is an archdruid. So, assuming nobody kills her, she will outlive generations. Many, many, many generations. She is pretty ancient, to be fair. Well, she herself isn't ancient, but she was really young when the Nameless City was founded. But she was there when the Nameless City was founded.
So she's a vampire who belongs to the Circle of Moon Spores, whatever the hell you said.
No, Circle of the Spores.
Circle of the Spores. Mushrooms. Okay, she's a mushroom-eating, shape-shifting vampire.
Yeah.
Who thought that was a good idea?
I did. Right here. She is
left some brain cells in some other forms along the way.
She is high as a kite 99.9% of the time. She hears voices And she, she answers them. So that's why sometimes you'll see her like leaning out windows, throwing things to the wind because the wind asked for things. Talking to herself. She's talking to the voices in her head. A lot of mushrooms.
I can tell you that if and when we get back to the Nameless City, Val is going to spend some nice long chats with Aunt Jucinda.
Oh yeah. Aunt Jucinda is like somebody I wish had like had the opportunity for more like podcast time and all that in the campaign. But you guys will see her again, assuming she's still alive by the time you guys get back, because they're towards like some of the final arcs. I'm going to start doing some rolls to see how well people have been doing, and we'll find out who's surviving and not. So, but yeah, you guys have been gone for a few months at this point. So
it's only been months.
Feels like it's been several like months, but it hasn't been a year yet. So it's been closer probably to like 4
months. 4 months, and we encountered all these cults and dragon fuckers, and wow.
Most of your guys' time was spent in the north. Like, that's where you guys spent the most time, because you had to do a lot of walking and a lot of searching for things, like when you were searching for Saul's Vault and stuff like that. It took a lot of time.
That's true.
So, like, that was a couple of months on its own. It took you guys about a week to go south and stuff like that. But since you guys spent, like, a couple days at the Dragon Festival.
That's right.
And then it was, like, a week or two after that, some more travel and all that stuff. So, like, maybe... 4 or 5 months is probably pretty accurate. So, it's just wild. Good for possibly for the people in the Nameless City. You don't really know.
We have no idea what's happening in the Nameless City.
Nope, you do not. But you kind of have to hope you're going back to something eventually. So, we will all find out.
But Asha is hoping to take a vow of silence for a year in a locked room.
An isolation kind of situation to just communing just with the Moonweaver to give her strength to deal with all this bullshit.
Rehabbing the very tired mind.
So I'll ask you guys a question now. What was the most unexpected part of the campaign for the past year, or before that, the campaign as a whole?
I mean, Val dying, really, like that it was part of the plan, I think.
Yes, Val dying.
I figured one of you would die, like, eventually, and considering the fact that Ani keeps putting Valkyria dead center in the middle of all of the fighting, despite the fact that she is the most squishy, I kind of assumed it would be Valkyria. It's just, like, because Ani acts like a fucking war mage rather than, like, a sorceress, so... Or I guess maybe saying you act more like a barbarian, where you're just like front center, acting like the front lines, rather than the distance fighter you're supposed to be.
It's how I play video games too. I choose the squishy characters that are meant for the long range, and I go headfirst into them. Right.
And does that work for you in video games?
No.
So, like I did figure eventually probably would happen. Whether it happened with the fight with the dragon or not, I wasn't entirely sure, but I also knew I was going to try pretty hard to kill one of you at that point. So, because there were other consequences if it had been somebody else, though. So, there was a plan.
The consequence was no boyfriend for Asha.
But there is a goddess for Asha.
That's true.
There are consequences. Now, I will say, if it's ever Jazara, I have no plans for Jazara. Like, either you guys have Revivify and you bring her back, or you don't. So
great. Besides,
we've been warned on that one.
Besides the actual dying of Valkyr, because I wasn't totally surprised I died. It was finding out who great grandpa is.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Val's ancestor, which I put together based on a text message conversation with Ani before the campaign started. So, because
I don't remember this text conversation. So
yeah, you were talking about how you had to decide what layer of hell she's from, and like what your demonic ancestor was. And so I said, well, you might find out in the campaign. And then I put that together. So, because I thought it would be more interesting if you could learn that, because Val wouldn't know that.
No.
And most tieflings don't really know that. Sometimes they can, depending on like, there's not a lot of like ice-based tieflings. In fact, it's not even like a standard in any of the D&D books. But you can like make it so that they're a little more related to one of the rulers of hell, and you can say like that's your demonic ancestor, or somebody from that plane is your demonic ancestor. But that's not like a common thing, and you wanting Val to kind of be like cold to the touch and like undead and ish, or like, you know, just cold in general was something I'm like, okay, that really goes against like tieflings being from hell because they're very fire based in as a default. I'm like, so if we switch it, we can give her a lore reason for that. So wanted to kind of connect those together, so they made a little more sense. But because it would be weird if you were both fire and ice, so made you a little icier. And you use the ice knife spell and things like that a lot too. So kind of tying that all together. And
you frosty bitch.
And the layer I chose, which is the 5th layer of hell, is a better choice than the 8th layer of hell. So, because it's one step above Osmodius, who's the leader. He's those are literally like, those are the names. Like those are the names, even in D&D. Like, yeah, there you go. But trying to come up with a nickname for Levis was one of the harder things, because I couldn't just outright call him by his demonic name. I needed to like something, and so trying to come up with something for him was something, because I'm just like, that, like, if I just say it outright, like, they know enough about lore, they might just know who he is. So I didn't want you to be able to put it together
too quickly. Yeah.
So having him be there, I really like him as a character, and when I picture him in my head, it is a cross between Sirius Black after he breaks out of Azkaban and Tony Stark. Like, that is exactly what an unhinged combination of the two of them. That is what I picture. Like, very charismatic, but also not all there. So that is really what I picture. So. And a lot of like the Gary Oldman face as Sirius Black too. Maybe he looks younger than Gary Oldman does in as Sirius Black and stuff like that, but it's very much like in that vein. Like, if you took Gary Oldman at that time and maybe like de-aged him until he was like mid-30s at the time. Yeah.
Well, like Gary Oldman. Well, then you'd be getting into like Gary Oldman in the Dracula one. Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Which that makes sense. And then put him in the bespoke suits that Tony Stark would wear, and with the stupid little glasses too.
Yeah,
but I'm also thinking Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element, with just the way he like walks and talks.
One of the finest actors of our age.
Quite.
And I also just wanted him to be very like funny, but in a way that would probably drive Valkyria nuts. And I think I succeeded in, at the very least, driving Valkyria nuts. So
you did.
She's very chaotic, but so is he. And you put I wanted to put two very chaotic people together in just like in a way that were like magnets that just didn't want to connect and just kept bouncing off of each other. So I'm just like, I need somebody who's wilder than Valkyria, but in a more unhinged way, which is saying a lot considering Valkyria has on multiple occasions tried to collect body parts. So what gets me is your surprise and potential like reluctance to rule a layer of hell. Like, that surprised me. You did not seem interested in ruling a layer of hell, and I'm like, hello? Who am I?
I almost feel like it was the shock of dying.
It was the shock of dying. I'm just like, wait. I don't want to be here yet.
Yeah, and he doesn't want you there yet either. He's just like, no, it's too early.
Yeah. It's the shock of timing.
Yeah.
She'll get around to it.
But now that Val knows her destiny is to rule this level of hell, I'm sure she'll be having lots of ideas running in that brain of hers that she's going to try and do not in hell.
Gotta get through your tenure in the Nameless City first.
Right?
But Levis considers that a practice run. Like, it's your practice for eventually going to rule a layer of hell. Because he needs somebody to take his place and break him out of his ice prison so that he can go do
whatever the hell he wants
things.
to do.
other maybe not, disclosed things. So I did not, however, worry that Valkyria would be worried about unleashing one of the archdemons of hell. I was just like, no, she'll do that. So
it was a rare moment of clarity for Valkyria. She was like, wait, this might have consequences.
Yeah, and at no point I don't think Val expressed any worry about like freeing an archdevil, and I was just like, I had zero plans if Val decided to be like, I don't think I want to do that, because I just knew Ani wouldn't do that, so she'd just be like, no, that's cool.
That's fine. Release you? Sure, let's go.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, sure, why not? So, but yeah, so he is your demonic ancestor through your father, so.
Yes.
You would have a different demonic ancestor from your mother, potentially. So
now I'm curious to see if and what that would be from Mom's side, because we all know Val and her mom don't quite get along.
Your mom's a very unique person. Like, Val's mom is very unique, very strict, very like prim and proper. She's also like great friends with Asha's mom. Yeah. So
etiquette must be followed at all times.
Mm-hmm. They're like, both moms are very different types of like strict, but they're both very strict at the same time. Like, Val's mom is all about like presentation to like the people, like basically being in a royal family and adhering to like royal etiquette and stuff like that. Where Asha's mom is like, yeah, the entirety of this city depends on like the magical capabilities of the people of the Kel Tower, because they are the main healers, and if you don't know how to do your job very well and you're not like learning how to do this correctly, you put the whole city at risk. And that is kind of her approach to it. And like, yeah, you have to be good at this because people's lives depend on you being good at this. So,
and I think Asha's enough of a type A personality that those kind of threats work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, no, you have to be good at this. There are drastic consequences. Like, if Val isn't like adhering to the royal etiquette, it's just a little embarrassing for like Valkyria's mom, as opposed to like if the priestesses aren't doing their jobs very well, people might die. So, however, one of them takes it more seriously than the other one, and it's definitely Val's mom. Like, she will consider it like the end of the Nameless City if Valkyria is caught doing something she shouldn't be, and she's been caught doing things she shouldn't be a lot. So,
and meanwhile,
their daughters, like Asha's mom can kind of relax because she's like, I scared this one enough.
Yeah, that's very true.
Valkyria's mom's like, I need to scare her more.
Yeah, it's like, I haven't scared her enough. I need to scare her some more. So that's very true.
It's because Val's mom can't scare her enough. It's because her and her dad are so close.
Yeah.
And her dad's a trickster.
It's true.
Fool of a person.
Not like as much as Valkyria is, but it's definitely there. So, but he's also incredibly like personable. Like, the people of the Nameless City love Val's dad. So he's very personable with all of the people and stuff like that. So he had like an interesting reign, but it's been a pretty easy one, with the exception of the invasion. So, and some other things, but some other things that you might learn later in the campaign.
Might learn.
Maybe.
If you are receptive to the learning.
Okay. And if I'm alive.
Yeah, that too. That too.
This Rafiki type character to come hit her in the head, if not learned.
I think we had an instance like that during one of the wild magics. Like, some monk came and like just declared the most useless piece of wisdom possible and then left.
Or the child that kicked her.
That's
also
true.
good.
Or the
fucking
fiance.
kid. Not the fiance.
Could bring the fiance back and watch the fiance and Althindra and just duke it out.
You know what? I'd pay to watch that. I'd pay to watch that.
What do you do if Althindra loses? We should do it and have it, like, make Val roll. Like, one roll for the fiance and one roll for Althindra, and just do rolling.
No, let me roll. Let me roll.
Okay, sure.
I want to roll. I want to be part of the downfall. Because Asha's got some beef with Althindra, so...
Do you want to roll for the fiance, then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll have to plan
Make
that
it
out
interesting.
I'll have to plan that out somewhere. So, and if Althindra dies and the fiance becomes the new love interest, I'll have to let Ani do something to get at Asha when Asha's love interest kind of comes around. So, so
have fun with that one.
But I'm responding to Althindra's just lack of helpfulness.
Staring at a wall.
Yeah.
Althindra was not there when Val died.
No.
Poor Althindra. Like, he dropped everything. He dropped a job to come in the middle of help out, and then he just wasn't there when he needed him.
And then when he was there, he just stared at a wall. Completely muted.
Well, to be fair, he didn't stare at a wall. He stared at Valkyria's dead body. So did a lot of staring at Val's dead body. So
fair.
Yeah. So he was very heartbroken. So,
which was a surprise to all of us.
I mean, you've spent the last several weeks with him and all that stuff. So, there was a lot of off camera in your imagination conversations and time, because you guys traveled for weeks together a couple of different times. So it was a little, there has to be an assumption of some build up there, just because we didn't do every day of travel role playing. So a lot of
their time has passed.
Yes. So, but then Valkyria died. So that was interesting for me to write the details of the rituals and stuff like that. So, but I also knew I kind of had to speed into the finding of the temple and having other things happen, because I didn't want Ani just to sit there and do nothing for 4 episodes, because I'm well, that would be boring. So that would be really, really dull for Ani just to sit there and do nothing. And I'm well, we'll go back and forth between Hell and everybody else. So, but yeah, you guys got
my great grandpappy.
Yeah, when he's not throwing you in an arena to fight to your death. Yeah, I would second
when he's not doing that. But you know what? That's probably something Val would do.
See, you're learning on how you'd like to rule the lair when you inherit it.
Exactly.
So, you have any other questions you'd like to ask?
Let's see. Do we know what happened to what was his name? That poor fellow that was traveling with us. And Val kept fucking with him, saying,
Orville?
Orville! Whatever happened to Orville?
When you guys got back to Selrenia, he stayed there, because that's where he's from. And
a good therapist.
He might have approached the merchant that you guys had run into, the elven merchant. He might have been just can you ship me off with the next supply of goods somewhere else? A bigger city with maybe some therapy. But yeah, no, he stayed because that's where he's from, and he will continue to take missions out to Isle Cross and stuff like that through the snow. Making a point to avoid Saul's Vault in the future. But he also took some of the vials of the cure for the frozen woe illness. So he has that. He did end up giving those to the merchant to be shipped somewhere to try and make replicas of and to be studied. And the merchant actually took them and sent them off to the Cerberus Academy in the Dwendalian Empire. But you guys don't know that. So, but that was something that happened. He sent them off there for study, and they are looking into it because they are highly interested in the Aor and the research of Aor. So he made a bit of coin off of that and boosted his own reputation in the process. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone in Pale Bank is hunky-dory?
As far as you know.
Okay, as far as we know. What else?
Haven't done anything to try and contact him. Yeah, you haven't tried to contact him or anything like that, so...
How would we even do that, besides sending a bird?
Well, one of you has access to the sending spell. Which is like the message spell, except for over extreme distances. So
I'm assuming that's Asha.
I believe, yeah, I think Asha now has access to sending. So she can send short 40-word messages and get a 40-word reply.
Yo, sup?
You alive?
Checking in.
You up?
You up?
You could also, like, in the future, if you wanted to look for an item that does the same thing, so, like, it's not a spell you have to cast, and that way, if, like, Val wants to start sending messages to people. I will say I watched a D&D campaign a while back, and somebody had access to sending and used it to torment the fuck out of some people, making them think they were possessed or haunted and things like that, and I'm just like, it's a good thing it's not a Val spell.
Oh.
I think it's a cleric spell and a bard spell. I know it's a cleric spell. I think it also is a bard spell. But yeah.
It's a not for you, Valkyria spell.
Well, you guys have the card for the magical wizard chicken. Quack. And so you could always look and see if in his catalog of many things you have any kind of sending magical items. No.
Now we'll take a look through that catalog and contact Quack.
Quack.
I like
Spring
Quack.
wizard and feathers and twine. Quack. Quack. When I created Quack, I created him like a couple of months before you guys met him. I will say I spent a great deal of just time randomly going, Quack, spring wizard, feathers and twine. Just to myself. Like,
did your mom walk in and be like, are you okay?
No, I explained to her,
okay.
When I created Quack, I showed her a picture of Quack, and I told her, like, what his name was, and she's just looking at me like,
sure.
Okay, sure, yeah, sure. That's the thing. And she's not surprised.
She's like, that tracks? Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's 100%, like, not surprised. Like, she was there when I made, like, the wild magic table and everything like that, and then asked me, it's like, are you sure you like these guys?
Yeah, that I remember. Are you sure you like your friends? Yeah, why?
Yeah, I did that. I wrote that when I was in an airport waiting to come home from Boston after the cruise. So, and I'm about to go be at another airport, so you guys should be worried if I have spare time. So,
yes, the airport always brings out the rage in me too.
Yeah. So you know, you never really know what's going to happen while I'm up there. I'll have to bring a notebook in case I decide to make something else that was going to torment you guys. So, not that I haven't done a lot of that. So, but you know, maybe just a little. But I will say, like, at some point in the next couple of arcs, you're going to meet the person I created for Asha. And I'm hoping, like, it's really kind of like based on everything I know about Erin's situation, like, how well do I think it'll go over? Because that's what I was like with when I was making Althindra. I'm just like, okay, based on everything I know about the characters that Ani likes and Ani herself, like, creating someone that she would like. And then I had 2 photos of what I wanted the guy to look like, and I sent them both to Erin to make the final decision, and she picked the one I was leaning towards. So, and I'm like, okay, that feels like it's good then, because we both agreed. Like we both agreed. And I don't think I'll ever forget the look on Ani's face the first time she saw the picture of Althindra. The way you turned and looked at Erin, and I just, like, it's burned into my brain. It was beautiful. And it's, like, probably the only time I really wish we had been recording video is just that look on your face. Absolutely amazing. One of my favorite campaign moments is the look on your face when you see Althindra for the first time. Just like, yeah.
Like, this is for me?
This is for me! You'll probably have the same face when you meet your man.
It's true. I believe I've shown Ani some photos already.
You have.
So.
And then there's just me going, but there's no real man.
Yeah, I know.
If I could make real ones for you guys, I would, but I can't.
I want a bespoke man. I picked him this way.
But here's the thing. If these men were real, you already saw how I flirt, okay? That's how I flirt in real life.
That's
not just the Valkyria thing, all right? That's just me going, duh.
That was literally...
And you were talking to Misty.
I know.
Yeah. Like, that was DM divine intervention that made that conversation go okay. Like, the absolute, like, look, I don't know if I've ever actually been around Ani in person when she's flirted with somebody, but that really took me out of left field, and I'm like, oh. Ani made a little more sense after that, to be honest with you, and I was just like...
Does it make sense now?
I learned something about you, and I was just like, oh, okay, I get it now. So it was a little worrying, because I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have to make this dude wild. Like a little crazy. So
this guy's gonna have to have a high tolerance of
everything. Stupid.
For everything.
Just like you're just the first thing out of your fucking mouth is basically how many people have you slept with. I'm like, girl, what? And I'm not sure who was more surprised, Althindrin or me. So trying to come up with responses to Ani was just like, I was so prepared for like just like a bunch of like conversation and things, and I'm just like wasn't prepared for anything that left Ani's mouth in that episode. And I'm like, what? Girl! Like, even as like the ace of the group, I know this ain't how you do that. So I'm just a little worried now. And I'm just like, but at the same time, it's so reminiscent of like the very first like conversation Ani and I actually had. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. But yeah. That was a shock to me, but it's been hilarious, to be fair. So, because sometimes Valkyrie brain to mouth filter doesn't work, and sometimes it makes it very funny. So
neither does Ani's.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see the difference between Valkyria's first meeting with Althindrin and then Asha's first meeting when she meets the person I made for her, and see how that goes, and see what I can only imagine drastic difference is.
Yes.
Asha will have learned from someone's example.
Yeah. So, and like I can say like the circumstances of meeting is going to be very different. Like it's all going to be, he's very different, like, and all that. So it's very different because based on what I know of the two of you, very different taste in men. Sort of. Maybe less like difference in like appearance just based on your fictional men, but
personality.
But the personality is pretty different. So from my knowledge, there's a very big difference between like Cassian and then the guy from Throne of Glass. So like that's
Huge.
Just kind of like the vibe I was getting for that. It's just like pretty sure there's a big difference.
Yes, Cassian and Rowan are not in the same category.
Yeah. And that is kind of like the way I was going of like my knowledge base. I was really basing it on what I knew about the fantasy men that you guys liked, because I'm just like, I think I've only met one of Ani's exes, so there was no way I was going to make
too many
Althindrin off of any of them. So
which one did you meet?
Doug.
You know,
she also met Andrew, but we were never a thing.
I know. I was like, does that count though?
Is he the one that I met in the... Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, was he a drug dealer? Yeah.
No, he was a hockey player.
Yeah, he looked like a drug dealer.
No.
Tweaker. Yeah.
Wasn't even a tweaker, but no, he looked like one.
Like he acted like it though.
Yeah. I think I saw him once, twice, something like that.
Once for sure.
I just remember thinking to myself, yeah, I bet he does drugs. It wasn't a question. It's like he does drugs. So
one time, and not to rag on Ani here, but there was the time where Andrew and Lance and I had to sit in the back seat with them, and somehow Andrew was holding Lance like a baby in the back seat, in which I was also trapped. Do you remember that?
We were going to what? A game?
Yeah. And Tawny was there. That was the other thing.
Because he was so into Tawny, and she was just like...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, like, he was holding him like this. While we're driving.
I'm driving.
Mm-hmm. Because Lance's feet ended up in my lap. And I'm like, what the fuck is even going on today? I don't know. So no, not one like that, please.
Yeah, no. No. I think I'll avoid whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but it won't be that. But yeah, okay. So that's no. I have better creative capabilities.
We took a detour there, but
I have better creative capabilities than creating a man like that. So like I might not be a writer or an author, but I can do better than that.
Because you are a woman and you can create a much better man because you know what we want versus the men we find just out in the wild.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, though, a lot of I'm not sure how well Ani would take to Althindrin, like in real life, or he's a little...
she wouldn't have actually spoken to him. Like it would just have been
That's fair.
I don't know what to say or do. I'm just going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs.
Valid. That's very valid. Because Althindrin's very good looking. So,
what is Ani's go-to reaction when she's tongue-tied? Just to.
Word vomit.
It's either going to be word vomit or it's going to be I shut up for like hours because I don't know what to say or do myself.
Fair, very fair. All right, you guys got any more questions for me?
It's not really so much a question as because you had asked and things that surprised us, and it never fails to surprise me when things are very, very hard to kill. Like when it's like this combination of spells and things usually works on something, and then it just doesn't, Yeah. So that part's always just like. And sometimes Aaron wants to give up. It's like, okay, well, I did the best thing that I know I have, right? And it's like, okay, I'm done.
That's fair, because you guys have encountered a lot of different creatures and stuff like that. Some of them have resistances to certain types of damage and abilities and things like that. And one of the reasons you guys now all have magical weapons is the fact that you're going to start encountering creatures that have resistance to non-magical weapons. So if you attack it with something that isn't a magical weapon or magic, it's not really going to do anything. And which is why I made the new weapon for Asha and the new staff for Val, because her old staff wasn't magical. And Jazara's bow. Yeah, Jazara's bow, her arrows are now magical. They weren't before. So, it makes it harder to do things if you don't have magical weapons of some kind. So,
but it just sometimes it's like, damn. Well, I guess I gave it my best. Time to go home.
Yep.
I could have sworn that was gonna hit a lot harder than it did. No.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about real life, if you stab somebody with a dagger, you could just hit an organ and they could just bleed out and die within the next 10 seconds or whatever. Stabbing someone with a dagger in D&D is pretty much like poking somebody with a toothpick. Doesn't really work that well. So if you wanted, if you guys tried to use a dagger or something against the dragon that killed Valkyria, it would have wiped all of you out. Right. So it doesn't go, you guys, if you default to those kinds of weapons like the daggers and stuff like that, they don't work very well.
Oh no, I totally get all this, but I just don't have the persistent gene.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, time to give up.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, time to die. Okay.
I was oops, bye. Sorry.
Well,
Aaron, do you want to roll a new character? No, I'm good.
Nope. The last one was pretty good, and she didn't do it. So, oh well.
Yep.
Because I was telling Ani, I think that my mom was watching the Paralympics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these people are overcoming serious, injuries or birth defects or whatever, and with grace and just perseverance and stuff. And I'm just like, no.
Could it be me?
I'm just like, no. And some of them are like, oh yeah, I learned this sport after my accident. No.
No, good. I don't need to do that.
And I'm like, these people are heroes. These people are magical creatures. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I watched part of the archery Paralympics, and like
with the feet.
Hitting a bullseye when shooting a bow and arrow with your feet is the wildest but most like badass flex of all time. And I'm just like, okay, like I saw a dude do like the high jump with one leg. He jumped he jumped almost, it was like 5'10" with one leg from it. He didn't, obviously there was no running up to then jump over it. From a dead stand, that man jumped almost 6 fucking feet to go over that pole with one leg. And I'm like, you can do that?
I can't do that.
How do you do that? How does
I can't do it with 2 legs.
So, like, how do people do these things?
So basically, that's all you need to know about me as a person. I do not want to persevere.
That's fair. That's a very millennial of you. So
I know.
I do not want to persevere. I don't either. And I was telling Aaron where I'm just like, I could persevere, but I wouldn't want to. Like I know that I could go to a certain level of it because I have my mom in my head going, get up, stop woeing in your misery, if I can do something. Yeah. So I'll be like, fine, I'll deal. But also at the same time, I don't fucking wanna.
That's fair. I think at this point in our lives, like the world has just like kicked us in the teeth so many times, and it's just like you're just kind of sitting there after getting knocked down. And you're like, I'm aware I have to get back up, but fuck.
Yeah.
Don't wanna.
Yeah, it's just like,
I'll get up on my time. Yeah, let me just roll around on the floor.
It's like, or like you weren't even standing and walking anyway. You were already just crawling, and now you have to roll. It's just like, now you got to army crawl through life. Just like, do I have to?
Exactly.
Yeah, I just really need to either win the lottery or just marry a really rich person, so I could just like not struggle for a little while. So that'd be nice.
That one woman that is like living everyone's dream right now. She married someone who was like, I don't know how old, and then he died like a month after they got married, and she got
he was in his 90s.
Yeah, okay.
That one. I'm just like, how do I do that?
That's fair. That would be nice. I saw somebody else, it was a guy actually who was talking about lavender marriages, and I'd never heard of a lavender marriage, but it's basically like a marriage specifically for the benefit of like the taxes, the finances, and all that. And like you could see other people and he could see other people and like whatever, nobody cares. It's just like financial stability and social acceptance. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Ever get married, that's probably what it'll be for. So I just need to find somebody in a tax bracket. I just need to find somebody in a tax bracket higher than me, and just be like, preferably 2 tax brackets higher than me, because I got a lot of student debt. So
exactly.
So just like, what do you bring to the table? Almost $200,000 in student debt. What do you bring to the table?
Oh my god.
It's fine.
Marry me, please.
Marry me, please. Get rid of my debt.
That's why I always laughed at them like not there's being so much pushback about like canceling $20,000 in student debt. I mean, like, you have no idea how little that would do for me. I'm just like, no, it just wouldn't do anything. Sorry. So what do you guys think, or like, do you have any expectations or ideas of what you think the next couple of arcs are going to be like, or what'll happen?
I have no fucking clue. Like, I can't even guess where any of this is going, because every time I sit down to a session, I'm just like, surprise me.
Fair.
Aaron? Oh, yeah. Aaron.
No, go ahead, Ani.
I said, I do have a question about Goosey.
Okay, we'll get to that after we talk to Aaron then.
Yeah, I mean, considering that we're already in leagues with the goddess and stuff, it's like, how much more wild? You know, we have a dragon cult, we have things. It's like, how could I possibly top this? So I don't know what lives in your imagination.
Some wild shit.
But I assume it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. You know, and like the thing too is like I've given like chances and like possibilities and like alternatives of like, you know, hey, could go this way, or like, hey, this could happen, and like I'm being a lot nicer than I could be, and like that's the terrifying part. So to like, you know, I think I've done some terrible things to you guys, and I don't want it to. Well, for one thing, I don't want to make it not fun, and I don't actually want to kill everybody off because that would defeat the purpose of like the last 2 years. But I'm looking forward to the fact that like it's going to get harder and more complicated, but it's also going to pick up the pace a lot. There's not really going to be a lot of like the slower episodes anymore. It's just going to start really ramping up as a lot of shit happens to you guys. So
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so you can expect to like level up a lot more as we go because more shit's gonna happen. So
and I get more things.
You do, yeah. So we will work on some of the new things you're gonna get pretty soon and all that too, because you took some new levels in Paladin and stuff like that. But as your social or your sorcerer's stuff goes up too, you'll get some weird things as you go too. So you had a question about Goosey?
What can you tell us about Goosey that we don't know? Because we don't know a lot about Goosey.
You will learn a lot about Goosey. I do have that planned of you guys finding out a lot about Sir Goosington, what he is like and why he is the way he is and where he's from and like all that. That is in the plan. I'll just say this straight out so Aaron doesn't ever have to worry about it. He is not your man. Because the next sentence I was going to say, I like, I should put a warning label on this. You're going to find out some stuff about Sir Goosington around the same time you're introduced to Asha's man. They are not connected. It's just going to happen at a similar time, just so we're aware.
Are they both birds?
No. No. So, it's like, yes, no, Asha's man is a swan. Who is an arch rival to Sir Goosington. Reverse Odette over here. A gender bent Odette. So, yeah, no, I wanted to preface that. It's like around the same time as when you're going to like learn some stuff because that'll be interesting. Those are you're gonna learn like Sir Goosington's like backstory and like his history and why he is the way he is and what's up with him and all that. You will learn pretty much all of that at one point. So
spoiler to anyone who's wants to read the book I'm about to talk about, Assistant to the Villain. I kind of the more I read Assistant and Apprentice to the Villain, the more I'm just like Sir Goosington reminds me of Kingsley.
Valid. That's fair. Like
he's just the person cursed to be a duck, a goose.
I will say he is a goose.
Okay.
Like he is a goose through and through. He is not a person. He is a goose through and through. I will say that. Okay. He's not a person like trapped in a goose's body or anything. He is fully a goose. So.
Okay.
But Kingsley, because I haven't read the second one, but Kingsley seems more pure of heart.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Definitely more kind and generous. He's not a murderous frog, so...
He's not a chaos... I mean, he's a little
chaotic, but not...
chaotic.
Minor chaos.
Yeah.
Not...
Goosey is top tier.
He has a sign.
Goosey's top tier chaos. Like, I can no longer see anything that has like geese on it or just like ducks that are just all white and not think of Sir Goosington anymore. Like it's just now immediately that just goes.
I send all of them.
Yeah,
even like Honkules.
Yeah, I love that Honkules, and that's gonna be one of Goosey's relatives too. Honkules. Yep. So
buff goose. All right.
Yeah, he has a really wild family. So he has a very extensive, weird, and wild family.
How old is Goosey? Can you tell us
you'll learn that too. Okay. No, you'll learn. So he has a very interesting and rich and odd backstory. So, and it has all developed over time as I've made him more and more chaotic. I keep adding weird shit to his story. So, but he's got a whole thing going on. So you'll learn where he goes, like when he disappears and all that stuff too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Back to his level of hell, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's secretly Asmodeus. The hell goose.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
At all.
Are there things that you guys would like to see happen or you kind of hope happen in the future?
I'd like to see us get home.
Yes, I would like to see us get home to the Nameless City.
Fair.
I would hope / like to see that if we're ever in battle, we just somehow we end up getting so, not necessarily in tune with each other's magic, but like, how do I say this? Like, we just end up fighting so well, like coordinated without even trying.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have these epic battles, and it's like shit actually works versus stabbing.
Yeah, you've got a couple of battles in the upcoming future, so gonna have time to show off your badassness. So,
are we going to meet, or are we going to find all the masks?
That, like, the wrapping up the things with the dragon cult and all that is this arc that you're entering into. Like, the dealing with the dragon cult is your, because at the moment, like, the dragon cult is at the very least on Jazara's top priority list. Like, everything else is now second. Jazara is solely focused on dealing with this dragon cult because they have proven themselves to be a problem that is not going to go away. So
they are a problem that needs to be dealt with.
And she and a primordial elemental titan have made a deal of what needs to happen. So her rage, like, awoken a primordial elemental titan. So she has a new priority. Like, her priority was to, you know, bring Valkyria back from the dead. And now it's to wipe the dragon cult off the face of Exandria. So
high goals for Jazz.
Yeah.
And only Jazz could do it.
And so that is definitely, like, on Jazz's priority list, and she will probably spend, like, your guys' next session being like, we have to deal with them. They're a problem. They're trying to, like, release a dragon, a giant hell dragon onto Exandria. We need to deal with this because you guys don't know whether or not they have other masks, or, you know, they have at least one. You know, they have the black mask. You don't know anything about the other masks. Like, you haven't come across anything. You haven't heard anything about them. You guys have two of them.
We have the green and the white.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think it's the green and the white. So, and which they're only aware that you have one. So they're not aware you have the other one.
So don't overshare, Valkyria. No oversharing.
Yes,
ma'am. They don't need to know we have two.
So yeah. So they're
play that close to the vest.
But you are on their, like, priority hit list.
Of course,
like, you are pretty much wanted person number one because they
know we have one of them.
Yeah. So, and they couldn't get it from you on the mountaintop because you, like, killed the guy. So the dragon took off, and because the dragon wasn't going to stick around and try and get the mask. So, and you guys pretty much, Valkyria and this dude took each other out. So, though I think actually Asha had the final blow with that guy. So, because he did die. Like, you guys did knock him to 0 hit points. So, but yeah, I think the dealing with the dragon cult is probably this arc you're about to enter into the next time we record a session. So, and I'm not expecting it to be, like, super long either. Like, some of the ones that we've done, like the festival and things like that, were kind of long. I'm expecting this coming arc to be a lot shorter. And then there'll be some other things that are, then, like, you'll move into, like, the next final, like, 2.5 arcs. So go from there. So we'll see how that goes and who survives. And for all we know, none of you will survive, and this coming arc will be the last one, so it won't matter.
I mean, we've already died once.
So
one of us.
Yeah. But yeah, there's let's see, what can I tell you? You, assuming everyone survives for a while, will likely find Jazz's mom. I have that planned. So, and find out everything that's going on with that. And
I can't, like, I keep forgetting about Jazz's mom, and then when you mention it, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a wild thing when we finally meet her.
Yeah. Especially with as much rage as Jazara has now. Like, her mom better
be her mom.
Like, her mom better hope she's got some anger management control by the time she runs into her.
Like, sorry, but your daughter is pissed.
It's like, you know, she just had to fight a cult and watch her city get invaded and her best friend die. And, like,
That's fine.
Just some minor inconveniences. Any more questions or theories you guys would like to throw out? Any theories you have about what's going on?
I theorize there's going to be suffering.
Valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I'm hoping that whatever revelations we get about Goosey are going to be over the top. But they will be presented in such a blasé way that the same way that I give information.
That's fair.
Because we were talking about, cause I went out with the high school girls, and we were talking about, like, how growing up, like, a lot of the people in our grade lost their dads, and there was only one girl that lost her mom at a very young age. By young, I mean, like, 19. She was the first person to lose her mom, and then they were talking, like, they were all asking, like, do you remember how she died? And I said, yeah, I remember, because I remember, like, my mom telling me and everything. They're like, yeah, none of us remember. I'm like, yeah, she died of mercury poisoning. And they just kind of lost it, because you don't expect to hear about mercury poisoning in, like, 2009. But I just, the way I said, yeah, it's mercury poisoning.
Thinking of telling it to you guys, like Goosey's story, a la the storybook at the beginning of Shrek. Maybe, like, I'll read it like somebody who's reading a fairy tale. I will say, because I'll drop this little hint. Asha's going to learn something she didn't know about myth in the future.
My little furry bestie.
Mm-hmm. He's such a good boy.
He is.
But he is also old as
dirt.
The universe, and twice as terrifying.
He is an ancient creature, so... But you will learn some things about myth that you didn't know at one point. When exactly it'll happen will depend a little, but, you'll learn some things about myth. You guys are gonna learn some things about Jazz's family. You will... I don't have any plans really to dive any further into Val's family, because, like, we've pretty much dug out the big thing about Val's family. So
do Baxian and
your
Myth get along?
Baxian and Myth, they haven't really interacted much, but in the times, like, you've been training Baxian, like, on the road and stuff like that, Myth has firmly been on top of Asha. Like, this is a dog-cat relationship of, like, and, like, Baxian is a puppy, and Myth is ancient as hell, so it's like putting somebody's great-great-grandfather in the room with somebody's toddler and just being like, no.
Yeah, I was going to say it was probably more the age difference that was going to be the problem rather than species, because Myth is a crusty old geezer.
Mm-hmm.
I love him so dearly. But it's kind of the just calm yourself, child.
Yeah. It's just like, who gave the toddler pixie sticks? Like, please stop giving the child sugar. So, but yeah, so there should be some interesting things, like, coming up. But like I said, like, 3.5 arcs or whatever. They'll be shorter than the last few. Like, the last ones were longer just because, like, you're learning how to do things, building up, like, plot points and things like that. So, like, not as much of, like, I wasn't going to, like, hit you guys every episode with something wild. But that was, like, the point of creating the festival, was for you guys to do some things, learn some things, get some things without it. Because I didn't want it to all be combat, like, all the time. And so I wanted you guys to have other things to do, but also, like, learn how to do some other things, like different types of roles and stuff like that. So I've been, like, trying to teach you guys how to do different things while we do this, and now it'll be like, well, you've learned, and let's put it to the test. So
you've had 2 days. Let's go.
You've had 2 years. Let's go. So yeah, I assume there will not be a campaign year 4 anniversary. It'll probably finish sometime next year, I'm assuming. Okay. So.
Solid 3-year campaign.
You know what happens when you assume.
Yes. Yes.
The players make a fool out of you.
Yeah. That's very true.
And themselves.
So
mostly ourselves, yes.
Yeah, I am kind of assuming that it'll, I'll probably I might finish this before or after my PhD is finished, so we're gonna find out. So that'll be hilarious. But yeah, so we'll have to record some sessions and all that, and maybe might be like a time that maybe we record more than one or something like that for the month, but we'll figure that out. And because you guys are gonna encounter some stuff, so we'll find out. But yeah, you guys have any more questions? Anything you'd like to ask, theorize about, state, wig out over?
So far, I'm good. Watch. As soon as this recording is over, you're gonna message me and be like, "I'm surprised you didn't ask about ... and I'm like, "Fuck."
I just want to take this time to compliment our amazing DM and her amazing, terrible imagination for creating so far 2 years worth of campaign hijinks and memories for us as a friend group that we can take this into the future.
Yeah.
And look back on it fondly.
Well, thank you. You guys will be plagued forever with the memories of this campaign. And both for the good and the bad and this terrifying,
So should I add my therapy bill to just your tab?
I think we're just going to send them out to the creators of D&D. So for the whole group. So it's like they created the vehicle in which this chaos has been born. So we'll just collectively bill them every month. So a little extra for the Valkyria dying episode. But yeah, so we've answered some questions, we've theorized a little bit about the future, talked about the future of the campaign and stuff like that. Characters are all now level 10 with some multi-classing that's happened and things like that. I believe Asha is still working on whether or not she wants to take more levels in Cleric or in something else. So I don't know if Asha's made those decisions yet, but by the time we have our next session, we will know, and we will be dealing with some cult stuff. And like I said, Jazara's going to push for going after that cult. And Valkyria has the Oath of Vengeance multi-class now for Paladins. So I imagine she's probably pretty eliminate the cult driven now. So I assume. And so you guys have got a cult to deal with coming up. Cults.
Yeah.
We just say that so normally. Oh, you have a cult to deal with.
Yeah, you've got a cult to deal with. It's fine. They're just trying to resurrect, or unleash, I guess, a 5-headed dragon. So on the material plane.
Mm-hmm. I'm just picturing a Hydra from Hercules.
Yeah, pretty much. It's exactly what it looks like. Just every head is a different type of dragon, like the blue, the green, the black, the white, and all that. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. So. Great. It's fun. And they're all intelligent, and they all have breath weapons, and they all can kill you. So, yeah. So let's hope you defeat the cult before they unleash Tiamat. So
yeah, let's one fiasco at a time. Yeah, cult first, then Tiamat.
Yeah. So gonna have to deal with that because that's a lot of fun. So we will see how that goes, and I will leave you guys with this food for thought. But a couple of sessions ago, we rolled an insight check, and Myth was the only one who was suspicious of something, and nobody followed up with that. So
fuck. Do I remember what it was? No,
it's okay. But leave that little food for thought percolating in your brains. And because last time it was Aunt Jucinda, so this time it's Myth. So.
And how we will be punished for our, what's the word I want? Negligence, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I did send you guys the image for this episode. There were 2 things that weren't changed. The one that Ani spotted was an accident on my part. It is changed now. I did change that one. But you missed one. And that's
it wasn't lies?
No.
Oh.
You did miss one. And it was... But you're not... No. Gotta just live with it now. So, gonna find out. And see how that goes. Because you're gonna find out soon. So... And same thing with Myth. Whatever it is he was sus about, you are gonna find out
soon.
So, So enjoy that. Enjoy the next arc of fighting a cult, because they have not given you a choice of whether or not you want to be involved with their resurrection of Tiamat, because they are coming for you. And I guess in this case, maybe you guys are coming for them. So we hope you guys enjoyed our discussion and our little bit of a, like, not really a recap, but like our tea time for the Nameless City campaign. If you have not listened to it already, please feel free to go and do so, as we've got quite a few episodes out, 2 years worth of them, to be fair. And yeah, so a lot has happened and a lot is going to happen. And in the next couple of months, a lot more is going to happen. And I am looking forward to watching you succeed and tormenting while you do so.
Mm-hmm. She wants us to succeed, but she wants us to fail while we do it.
I want you to work for it. I want you to work for it, because in all honesty, if I just handed it to you and you guys like, yeah, here's your army, let's go. It's like, okay. But if you fight for it, it'll feel better if you succeed when you do. So I want you to earn it. So
it's the journey, not the destination.
So, and I promise at some point to give you more Jucinda content, so that you may have some more Jucinda content. So
I'm excited for Jucinda content.
Ani waited a whole year to ask that question about Jucinda and like what was up with Jucinda. So But yeah, Jucinda she's unique. I guess that's the way to put it. She's unique. So, but I promise to give you more Jucinda content in the future. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't done so already, go check us out on social media at the Sorry Not Sorry Generation on Instagram, or our website. We have a website too. You can find that in the link tree on Instagram. And yeah, go play D&D or any RPG. It's fun. Even when your DM's, trapping your soul in hell and you have to fight in an arena to get out. So, or get stalked by a goose. That's the best part, though. The goose. The goose is the best part of this entire campaign. We got Sir Goosington out of this. Yep. The combination between the Untitled Goose Game Goose and the Duolingo Owl and Cusco from the Emperor's New Groove. The most chaotic combination I could get. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Tune in next week for more fuckery, because we have some serious questions and concerns.